You know what's a sucker to me? A sucker is a nigga who pick who he fight with.
Right.
Like if you sitting and you I'm not going because this.
I won't fuck with him, but I'll fuck with this one.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
You want to fight the nigga you think you can beat.
You know, niggas be throwing rocks and hiding their hand, right? They be throwing rocks and hiding their hand. And I don't like them kind of individuals.
50 Cent just went off at Jay Prince after he tried to kick him out of Houston. At the center of the controversy lies a long-standing street tradition known as the check-in, an unspoken rule that artists entering certain cities are expected to report to local figures of influence. When 50 Cent moved to Houston, he was allegedly warned to adhere to this protocol, something Jay Prince has long been associated with enforcing. But unlike many others, 50 refused to comply. His bold rejection of this unwritten law has not only exposed cracks in the old guard's control, but has ignited a public firestorm that's evolving far beyond a simple disagreement. Now, what many viewed as street-level etiquette is being called out as a covert form of extortion, and 50's refusal to play along could shake the foundations of regional influence in the hip-hop community. Tensions reached new heights when 50 Cent took to Instagram, using his signature style of trolling to call out Jay Prince directly. The rapper, known for weaponizing social media as effectively as he does his music catalog, didn't hold back. He posted a string of images and captions mocking the idea of checking in, taunting Prince with cryptic threats and jabs that blurred the line between satire and declaration. These posts weren't just for laughs, they were calculated moves in a bigger game. By refusing to bow to intimidation and airing the dispute publicly, 50 sent a message not only to Jay Prince, but to the entire hip-hop industry. The rules are changing. His social media clapbacks went viral, fueling widespread debates online and turning what might have remained a private dispute into a full-blown culture war. The posts were sharp, strategic, and clearly aimed at undermining Prince's perceived authority, turning public opinion against the check-in culture and framing it as outdated, dangerous, and rooted in coercion. But 50 Cent's presence in Houston wasn't just about drama, it was about dominance. His move to the city was framed publicly as a business decision, with the rapper citing lower taxes and the desire to expand his brands, including Branson Cognac and Sire Spirits. However, this relocation wasn't just a personal shift, it was a calculated business maneuver. He moved his entire operation to Houston, signaling a long-term commitment to embedding himself in the city's economy and culture. For someone like Jay Prince, who has long viewed Houston as his domain, this wasn't just an outsider moving in, it was a perceived threat. The arrival of another high-powered figure with national reach and local ambition set off alarms. Rumors circulated that 50's presence was unwelcome at the highest levels, and that Prince saw the move not as expansion, but as invasion. The tension that followed wasn't about music. It was about territory, respect, and who truly holds the reins of influence in Houston's streets and boardrooms. As business lines crossed into street narratives, the situation escalated further. According to insider reports, 50 Cent was allegedly pressured to pay tribute to operate in Houston freely. This tribute was never spelled out, but sources claim it involved monetary gestures or partnership acknowledgments that would effectively signal Prince's dominance. 50, however, backed by elite security and a strong business team, refused. His rejection of this unwritten tax was viewed by some as reckless, by others as brave. Not long after, plans for a $20 million G-Unit film studio in Houston were mysteriously shelved, with the project quietly relocated to Shreveport, Louisiana. While official statements focused on business considerations, many speculated that the decision was directly tied to mounting tensions with Prince and the hostile environment that surrounded 50's ventures. This wasn't just a loss for 50, it was a missed opportunity for Houston's economy and film community, who were initially eager to embrace the rapper's expansion. Despite the mounting hostilities, Houston's official stance on 50 Cent took a surprising turn. In 2022, Mayor Sylvester Turner awarded him the key to the city, declaring a formal 50 Cent Day in honor of his philanthropic contributions. This included the G-Unity Business Lab, an initiative designed to mentor and empower local high school students through entrepreneurship and leadership training. The move was widely viewed as a public endorsement of 50's character and intentions in the city, creating a stark contrast between the image of community builder and the narrative of street disruptor. By aligning himself with local government and institutions, 50 Cent positioned himself as more than just an artist. He became a symbol of new leadership, challenging traditional power structures. It was a bold, calculated step that publicly distanced him from the chaos while simultaneously reinforcing his roots in the very community J. Prince was said to control. But 50 isn't the only one pushing back against the check-in culture. Other artists have spoken out against J. Prince's street-based protocols, most notably NBA YoungBoy, who rejected the tradition outright. After refusing to check in while visiting Houston, YoungBoy's home was burglarized. J. Prince publicly claimed to have recovered the stolen items and posted the news on social media as a gesture of goodwill. However, YoungBoy wasn't impressed. He called out Prince for using the incident as a publicity stunt, accusing him of manipulating the narrative for clout. YoungBoy's refusal to play along exposed deeper frustrations many younger artists feel toward the old guard. Rappers like Cameron and Mace also joined the conversation, mocking J. Prince's approach and questioning why a man in his 60s still sought street-level control instead of mentoring the next generation. Their criticism added fuel to the fire, reinforcing the belief that Prince's influence is fading and that a generational shift is underway. These criticisms grew darker with allegations tied to J. Prince's infamous dice games, which have long been part of his inner circle culture. But recently, those games have taken on a more sinister reputation. The deaths of rapper Takeoff and jeweler Duke the Jeweler are both rumored to be linked to these events. In Takeoff's case, what was initially described as an accidental shooting during a dispute at one of these games has since raised new suspicions. Leaked footage and conflicting witness reports suggest that there may have been more behind the scenes. Similarly, Duke the Jeweler was murdered shortly after reportedly winning a large sum at a private game tied to Prince's circle. While no direct link has been proven, the pattern is hard to ignore, and speculation continues to mount. Critics argue that these games are less about recreation and more about control, traps that exploit visiting artists under the guise of camaraderie. Prince's vague and defensive interviews have done little to quiet the rumors. And in many eyes, they've only made things worse. Behind closed doors, whispers of sabotage and retaliation have circulated. Insiders claim that J. Prince, feeling threatened by 50 Cent's growing presence, has considered using indirect tactics to neutralize him. Allegedly, associates tied to Prince sent messages warning 50 to leave certain business ventures alone, especially after he began discussing Big Meech, another high-profile figure with close ties to Prince's network. The suggestion is that any involvement with Meech or attempts to profit from his story could provoke retaliation. Despite the warnings, 50 has continued forward, undeterred. He's hinted at revealing damning information about how certain networks of influence operate, promising to expose what he calls the shadow economy of extortion, silence, and fear. Whether these claims are based on hard evidence or simply part of his aggressive strategy, one thing is clear: 50 Cent isn't backing down, and that alone has shifted the tone of the entire conflict. The public now finds itself watching a real-life chess game between two vastly different icons. On one side is J. Prince, a man whose power is rooted in legacy, fear, and behind-the-scenes control. On the other is 50 Cent, a mogul built on public spectacle, savvy branding, and unapologetic ambition. Their approaches couldn't be more different, yet their paths are colliding in a city that represents both opportunity and ownership. As 50 continues to build his influence through partnerships with major sports teams, multi-million-dollar charity drives, and cultural festivals, J. Prince finds himself increasingly isolated in a changing landscape. The old rules no longer apply, and the ones who once followed them are now questioning their relevance. This isn't just a fight for pride. It's a battle for who defines the future of influence in hip-hop, and Houston has become the front line. In the end, the question remains: has 50 Cent truly outmaneuvered one of the most feared names in music, or is he walking deeper into a trap with every calculated move? While his public efforts paint him as the hero of a modern rebellion against outdated systems, the danger behind the scenes is far from over. J. Prince may be quiet, but silence doesn't mean surrender. With rumors still flying, new alliances forming, and both sides refusing to blink, the power dynamics in Houston remain volatile. As the dust settles, one thing is becoming clear: this isn't just about music or money, it's about legacy, control, and the kind of influence that can't be bought. The outcome of this feud could change how power is understood and maintained in the hip-hop world for years to come,